Oh, okay.
America is a nation of immigrants, a vibrant tapestry of cultures, including Caribbean, with its people contributing to the rich diversity of American society, like Shawnette Renee Wilson, Basil Watson, Karen Andre, Reno Wilson, Dr. Cindy Duke, R.V. Pierre, Justine Skye. We honor their contributions to our shared history, shared legacy, and celebrate June as National Caribbean American Heritage Month. Join us. CelebrateJune.org.
Well, hello and welcome to another in the series of summaries on the daily virtual discussions in this Caribbean American Legislative Week, one of the many activities to mark Caribbean American Heritage Month. And if you're just joining us, as in for the very first time, I'm Dervan Malcolm. I'm delighted you have decided to come on board. This is Caribbean Eye on Washington, D.C. And if you're seeing another pair of eyes, those eyes are owned by Dr. Amala Luncheon. And she is one of the pillars of the Institute of Caribbean Studies. And you know what that means. Yeah. Hello, Dr. Amala Luncheon. How are you?
Hi, Dervan. How are you? Happy to be here. It's Friday.
Oh, yes. I used to celebrate like that until I started hosting a Saturday morning program.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, I turned down hosting that program about 3 times. And the third or fourth time, I was told, "Oh, you're just filling in. It's been 9 years of filling in. So I'm sorry. I tried to go, it's Friday, and then I go, oh yeah, but I have work.
Tomorrow is Saturday, yeah.
So it is. But anyway, let's get on with it. It's been a busy week for you and the other members of the team not least of all, Dr. Claire Nelson, futurist par excellence, who is online with us as well. And so we know it's been a very hectic week. So by all means, if I were in your position, no soon as the time ends today, bam, I'm gone. But, some fancy place and have some fun, dancing the night away. But let's get the work done first. Right.
So today we actually had, we started the morning with groundations. We had a poet from St. Lucia, John Robert Lee, who gave us 3 lovely poems. We started with that. And then
leave out my part in that.
Dr. Nelson was singing a Jamaican folk song. I don't know the song.
Which one of them? Which one?
Somebody about Marjorie.
Good morning, Miss Marjorie. I come here about Robert Lee. He means my bona fide property. I beg you give back my man to me. I hear you scratching up Robbie head. You could have loved him so till you're dead. But I warning you, Marjorie, you better back away from Robert Lee.
Oh, that's beautiful. You can sing, Dr. Nelson. Goodness.
And she did that on the show this morning. So that was his introduction, actually.
Lovely. Well done. Well done.
Yeah, so then you read 3 poems after that. So that was how we started our morning. That is how it was. Yeah.
Nice. And did it get better from there? I mean, because how do you top that singing by Dr. Nelson? Hello.
Well, we went into the next session that was actually hosted by Ambassador Noah Lynch from Barbados, where we spoke about the blue economy. And we had someone on there, William Cruz from Blue Tide in Puerto Rico, and Ambassador Lynch greeted him in Spanish. And they had some exchanges in Spanish. And, I'm like, whoa, okay. So that was cool too. So, nice. It did get better from there. And in the blue economy, what they did, so William Cruz was on. We had Dr. Mark Wenner. And we had one more person was on there. Desmond Sears from Guyana. Yes, he's the immediate past president of the Shipping Association in Guyana. And they each defined the blue economy, and it was tied to the fact that their livelihoods connected to the sea and to users of the sea. And from each person's perspective, they actually spoke about what are the things that are happening now that, are affecting the sea and how we could sort of protect those things in a way that is not just linear. And one of the most interesting things is the fact that I don't know if Jamaica has this problem with the sargassum, but Dr. Wenner, who lives in the Virgin Islands, he is saying that, you know, people are willing to pay him to just collect it. And he's done a little project where he's able to generate fuel from it. So he's working on that now. And so we're going to develop a university partnership with other schools so that they can actually design something to like go around and collect it. Ambassador Lynch was saying that there's a way to keep it at bay, I guess, sort of like to build a fence or something, you know, to keep it away, because the stench is really what sort of affects the tourism, because it really does not smell good. So
if you're wondering, sorry, why I'm looking around, because you mentioned the blue economy.
Yes.
And I remember reading about the blue, I don't want to call the wrong name, but I think it's a blue ocean shift, or something here we go. Blue ocean shift, which I guess you'll be seeing it in reverse.
Okay. Yes, I'm seeing it.
No, you're seeing it.
No, it's fine.
Blue ocean shift.
Yes.
So this one spoke about, since everybody is in the, I would imagine, the red ocean, as in everybody fighting for the same market,
right?
Whatever that little market is,
right?
You identify what value you can add to distinguish you from those fighting over spoils in the red ocean.
Okay.
So you create your own ocean, as opposed to fighting for whatever little fryers are in the red ocean, so to speak. So I don't know if they went that far, but I thought of that when I heard you talk about.
Well, maybe the blue economy is a blue ocean ships.
Indeed. Indeed, yes. Because now the focus needs to be on it.
Right, we did have a little toss-up about whether we are large ocean states.
Oh, yes.
Or we are
big ocean, small states, or if that, which is what you wanted, Dr. Nelson, or if we are
big ocean
developing states. Yes.
Which one you prefer, Mr. Balcom?
Oh no, you're putting me on the spot now.
From point of view of communication strategy, is it better to be a big ocean developing state, a large ocean state,
a large ocean small state,
large ocean small state, or big ocean small state?
And I notice you're saying state as opposed to states.
No, well, state, same thing.
Okay.
Yeah, doesn't matter.
Because if you're, it depends on what you want to emphasize. Do you want to emphasize the vast ocean?
Well, no. Think of it in the way that we now abbreviate everything. So we're going to end up with loss, boss, and bods.
Oh.
Because everything is abbreviated. Because before we were SIDS, Small Island Development
and Developing State. I see what you mean.
So what were SIDS? So, yeah.
So what would you want to be?
Yeah, I need to see it on paper.
Right. So large ocean is LOS, BODS, or BOSS?
BOSS. Yeah, well, on the face of it, I mean, it's very easy to say boss.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yes.
Exactly.
That's why I wanted to see it on paper.
But I digress.
That's all right. That's all right.
And I think it was Dr. Wenner who reminded us that back in the 60s, I think, there was a prime minister who had said that we need to pay attention to the ocean because, that's where we would need to be turning our focus. That was in the 60s. And now here we are, 2021, and we're still talking about it in a way as if it's in its infancy, and we also spoke about the fact that the water is actually 82 degrees in the Caribbean, and that is why we have that sargassum problem, because the water is warmer than it should be. So,
and was a connection made to climate change in that respect?
Oh Yeah, but I mean, in some fora, climate change is not a problem. But it is because of climate change that's happening. So the temperature in the sea is warm, and so where the sargassum would usually be out, probably by Africa, where it's naturally warmer, it's managed to make its way down to the Eastern Caribbean.
No.
So that's that was one of the things that we spoke about there. And then after we dealt with blue economy, we went on to agribusiness, which was another interesting conversation. So I chaired that panel, and we spoke with Elijah James out of Antigua and Barbuda, who is with ACARI, which is an agricultural body. And we had Ramesh Duku, who is the secretary of the Private Sector Commission in Guyana. He is also works at Banks DIH, a major agro-processor. And they were on, while they're in the same line of business, the realities on the ground are very different, because Mr. Duku was able to tell us about not having the infrastructure to reach farmers like in different points of Guyana. And so there's certainly a lot of spoilage, where Elijah was saying that in their instance, they have accessibility in terms of they have a list, so they know who grows what, where it's grown, and that sort of thing. In Guyana, no such list exists. So we wanted to sort of bring those things together in a point that we can help people easily, but we would need that information. So we still need to sort of collaborate to get that done, but there's a lot of opportunity in terms of processing. Guyana has a lot of space for stuff to be done. We learned today too that the president of Guyana is encouraging farmers to come to Guyana because they have so much land. So that was very welcome for us to hear.
In fact, a former colleague of mine who used to co-host the Saturday morning show with me, Dr. Kadamawe Knife, I think I can say this because he has said it before publicly on air. And this was like maybe 3 or more years ago, that he actually acquired land in Guyana, because he found that there was a lot of fertile land, and very, very, very competitively priced as well.
The issue, though, is the infrastructure. So one of the things that we spoke about, because, if you have to go from, and one of the doctors spoke about it on Tuesday, I want to say, where she was explaining that, let's say you live in Barbados, you can go around the island maybe in 2 hours. Whereas if someone's a student or a farmer or whatever, and they need to move from one point of Guyana to another, it could be an 8-hour trip just one way. So the accessibility is just not there. And so there still needs to be road infrastructure. And obviously, if there are no roads, then you'd have water issues and you'd need irrigation and so on. So one of the things that we spoke about is mobile agro-processing. So in cases where there are existing farms, what we could do is, if we got, Dr. Nelson was saying, a 40-foot container with equipment on it, you can go from place to place, started doing further processing for these people and aggregate it. So that's one of the things that we would be looking into.
I see you smiling, Dr. Nelson.
Yes. Because this idea just came to me on the spur of the moment there. One of those things you're just sitting on listening, I'm saying, yeah, this could actually work. Because, we know the gentleman in St. Lucia built a solar mobile desalination plant. So, hey.
Yeah.
Nice. In St. Lucia, you said?
Yes. And this was like 2 years ago.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, and St. Lucia is getting ready to welcome their first cruise ship I can't say post-COVID, but Tuesday. Yeah. 400 people. Hello.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Scary based on the information we got on Wednesday about COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see. Right. So that was it for agriculture, Dr. Lonchan, pretty much?
Yes, I want to say we have a lot of work to do in agriculture in terms of bringing people together, in terms of creating the list. I think we're charged with finding someone who would head up a regional body, because Elijah James from Antigua and Barbuda, he said, who is going to be responsible for putting this information together? Because somebody needs to be in charge. We're tired of talking and giving information. who is going to be responsible? I'm like, okay, but if it's going to be me, I'm going to need those lists. I need to know where these people are. How do I find them? What do they do? So, I mean, we do have some sort of charge in terms of, finding who does what across the region. He seems to think that at least across the Eastern Caribbean, he has a lot of that information. So it's something that we can jump on almost immediately. And then we went into disaster resilience.
One more thing, we also talked about some kind of equipment that could collect the sargassum from the sea. It could be attached to a boat, like a paddle or a net or something to scrape up the sargassum. So we talked about possibly doing a university partnership between engineering schools in the Caribbean and Morgan State University here to design some kind of attachment to some kind of boat. So those are things we can kind of start to tinker on and keep us moving forward, because we don't want, when you have a very high energy event like this, to have nothing happen.
Right. True.
Meeting and moving forward, yes.
Right. Good. So, Dr. Luncheon, you are going on to talk about disaster resilience?
Yes. Prior to that, though, we had entertainment from the Royal St. Lucia Police Band. We got, yes, we got 3 songs from a tenor saxophonist. And then we went into our afternoon session. So we started with disaster resilience, sort of a public-private partnership. On that panel, which was hosted by Ambassador Colley from the Bahamas, we had Cyprian Gibson, who is from the Wastewater Association, Caribbean Wastewater Association. We had Republic Representative.
Sorry, Dr. Nelson, you're saying?
Cyprian Gibson is with the Global Water Partnership.
Okay.
And Wayne Williams is with this is the Caribbean Water and Wastewater Association.
Oh, okay. I'm mixing up my waters here. We had Representative Donald Payne Jr. from New Jersey 10. We had Claudius Francis, who is the president of the St. Lucia Insurance Council. We had Dr. Rihanna Neely Murphy, who is an environmental scientist from the Bahamas, and Darren Bent from Jamaica.
Oh, I know Darren.
Yes. So that panel was actually a very good panel, because based on the fields that I just told you, you can see that there was a mix there of public-private partnerships of people talking about resilience. So we spoke about resilience from a building perspective, resilience from the engineering perspective, resilience from insurance perspective, and we figured out that Mr. Francis was able to explain to us that insurance is really controlled by the government. Because if they don't put certain things in place, insurance companies, their hands are tied.
Oh.
But insurance is necessary for almost every single sector in the Caribbean, because when something happens, you're like, insurance. So, but they're not usually called to the table in the planning process.
Any discussion along the lines of if even a cursory assessment of how resilient we in the Caribbean have been during this pandemic, and with other happenings, the volcano.
Not really, but Mr. Francis did talk about how Dominica was able to, actually Dominica legislated some stuff on resilience after Hurricane Maria, because they almost had to rebuild from scratch. Right. And so they did like different building codes and so on. So now they're up to a different level in terms of how they approach their disasters and so on. And that was basically it in terms of a country that is looking to the future with resilience planning, so to say. Everybody spoke about how they had issues with the pandemic, because remember, most of the people on that call were their islands and were heavily dependent on tourism. So, that really has been everybody's reality. And there's still talk about vaccination inequity and vaccine hesitancy. So you said that St. Lucia's getting a cruise ship on Tuesday, and Mr. Francis was saying that there were only 30,000 St. Lucians who'd had their first dose. And if they continued at the same pace they're at now, then they would vaccinate everybody by January of 2022. So, so that's the realities are really, a little bit
Mm,
different. So
right. So, blue economy, agriculture, disaster resilience. Is that was
everything was
that it?
disaster resilience this afternoon, but in different silos.
Mhm.
So then after that first panel, we went to um,
Oh,
we
the
went American Chambers of Commerce from Guyana, Jamaica, Trinidad. So they spoke a little bit about what they do here and in the region because they're aligned with the relevant chamber in their home country, right? So it's sort of like an American arm of the local Chamber of Commerce. So they spoke about the issues that businesses are having both here and at home, and it's all the same. Just they just spoke about it from a straight business perspective. Then after that, we had a panel that Dr. Nelson did. So that one was with tourism ecosystems. And she spoke with Wayne Williams from Caribbean Wastewater Association and Mr. Wellington from Jamaica, from Negril.
Yes, from NEAT.
Right.
right.
And we spoke about a lot of things that he was doing. And water is really important in tourism. Wastewater, water for consumption, the beaches, all those, the water as an ecosystem, as Dr. Nelson would say. And so we spoke a little bit about all the things surrounding that and what he is doing, the scholarships that he has, and really how he sort of stepped back now and he's running like a scholarship program or a training program across the road from where the hotel is. So he's still involved. His sons are running the property, but he's still very involved. And Dr. Nelson says his middle name is Negril. So
You better believe it.
So we spoke to him, and then the crowning moment, I'll let Dr. Nelson tell you about that. That's her well orchestrated baby.
So the crowning moment was a moment with the incoming Secretary General of the CARICOM community, Dr. Carla Barnett. Yes, my dears. So she graced us with her presence and she spoke for about 10 or so minutes about what she'd like to accomplish under her watch. And she begins on August the 1st. She talked about her vision around, first of all, wanting the community to really be more of a community with more participation at all levels so people understand what CARICOM does and what it means to them personally. She talked about wanting to make sure that food security was high on the agenda of the community, and also that climate and disaster resilience was also high on the agenda. Those are 3 priority areas, I think I remember correctly.
She also spoke about free movement of people.
Oh yes, free movement of people was critical in terms of having us take care of that. And we had a robust discussion afterwards. She took a lot of questions, at least half an hour. And she really talked about, again, the need to engage different sectors and urged those of us who are engineers on the call that if we feel like we want the engineers to be organizing, we should organize our stuff and then come to CARICOM and say, okay, we need XYZ. So that was a good thing because I was like, okay, Missy, so she's obviously very much. And then she said to us, I don't walk on water. She didn't say it like that, but I cannot do miracles. And she asked that she's not, exactly endowed with miracle-making powers, but she certainly wanted to do her best to be a transformational leader. It was really wonderful. But everybody was saying, like, thank God a woman now, finally, thank God. And it's like throwing all these expectations on her. It's like, oh no, I'm not a miracle. So we promised to give her more than 9 months because, like an elephant, the gestation period for these miracle birds cannot be 9 months.
Yes.
So what's interesting, though, Dr. Jaja was asked, we're talking about the issue of change. And after we were like, well, how come we have all these studies and we can't move anywhere, we can't move anywhere? And somebody, I forget whom, said, well, the truth of the matter is there's no political will. And we all got depressed for like a good 5-10 minutes. You could feel the energy in the room was like, get sucked out of there. Is that true? We all were like, Because we're like, we're gonna change the world. Then
Yeah, there's a song, the big ones get away. Money, something another. Want to change the world. It quickly stays the same. Power junkies want to something another, whatever. You should check out that song. The big ones get away. Buffy Saint Marie. But
well,
anyway, sorry, go back. Yeah, so you were all deflated.
but it was very fair. But I think we found a way to bring ourselves back up. Let's okay, all right. If it is that change making can only happen when there's political will, the trick that we have to do then is to figure out how to shape the political will to make change. What is it that we have to do as civil society to learn from the lessons of the people who were in the 30s and 40s who fought for independence and who were out there, really pushing the political change that made us independent in the first place,
Yes.
to take us to this next level of independence. It's like so I think one of the first things we have to do, if I think about it more closely, Amanda, is we have to actually name this thing. Because it's not independence, it's just something new. Then we have to give a name first. We can say we are working towards X.
We might need to have a consultation with Stephen Newland from Roots on the Ground.
Yes, because he might have the right words. Because what we're looking for is the story of what we're trying to do. It's very hard to make change based on, we're going to have poverty. Who cares? Like, it's not sexy. You can't have in poverty. What does poverty taste like, smell like, look like? If you're going to say, my party is going to ensure that every Caribbean child goes to bed with at least one flour dumpling and one contour of chicken foot soup, right? So,
we get it.
well, that would at least be a chance, because some children don't have one flour dumpling and one contour of chicken foot soup.
Right.
So that is more of an evocative thing. Now the masses can come and say, "Yay for the flour dumpling and the chicken foot soup."
So we really need to. Stephen had encouraged us to think along the lines that we are the government. We had him on when we did the creative economy, and we were talking about culture. And he also said that Dr. Nelson has said it several times since then. The tail can't wag the lion.
That's right.
And that is the situation that we find ourselves in when we keep thinking, okay, we have all these great ideas, and then we take it to the government. And then the government changes, So we ought to take back the power that we have and use that power differently.
Well said. So, Dr. Nelson, we have 2 minutes and 12 seconds. What happens next? What's the usual procedure at the end of a week such as this?
Well, we have to now look at all of what you have heard, look back at our document, send something to all our speakers. We may maybe send a quick survey or something to all our speakers so they can give us any specific notes they want us to make note of. Refresh our document, hopefully by the middle of, I would say by June 10th, July 10th, we'd like to, because Congress closes, at end of July. So Congress comes back in session on the 14th or 20th of July. So we're definitely, when Congress comes back, they should be coming back to an email with an attachment saying, we're proud and pleased to deliver to you X, Y, Z, before they go on their long break in August, right?
Right.
So I think it's 2 weeks in July before they go back on a long break. So we'll have to make sure that we get this document in to the Western Hemisphere Affairs committees, the Caribbean Caucus, the Congressional Black Caucus, all the Friends of the Caribbean. Since we have disaster resilience, we want to send it to the Climate Caucus and the Oceans Caucus. There's different people who we feel also, number one, have sympathy for the issue, or their constituents are Caribbean, even if they don't have any personal sympathy for the issue.
Right.
And then what we'll do is try to see if we can convince some of our partners around the country to have a call-in day. So in that day, we'd say, okay, let's call in, before they go on break, have a call the congressperson day, right? So that we can at least keep the advocacy that we've started moving forward, because a lot of Caribbean people are still not accustomed to advocacy. I think the opportunity we have here is because there's some discomfort about the fact that so far we have not heard from the Vice President's office to answer to my request for either a town hall phone call or a videotape or anything from her, I wasn't going to promise positive response. The last response I got was, okay, I'm going to send to the person who knows about that. So, at this point, there's a little bit of discouragement, I think, from, the people who voted for her and expected her to do something different.
Mhm.
And I've been trying to explain to them that it doesn't work. That you kind of going to have to jump and down and make a whole of noise, because she might be thinking, oh, it's just a couple Caribbean people, whatever, Not really party people anyway, so whatever. It's not because I'm sure she's meeting with other groups. We know she's meeting with other groups. She's meeting with the faith community. She's meeting with the gay community. It's only us that probably don't get no attention because we're not organized in a way that we can command attention.
Right.
So I think it's very important that we really continue our march, because we can't assume that after 2024 we will have a continuing of this era. We might have another reversion to something else. So we have to be now really more alert to understand that democracy in America is still something evolving, and we have to be part of the evolutionary process.
That's right. Well said, well put. And Dr. Luncheon, for those who are ruing the fact that they weren't able to sit in on even one of these stimulating, thought-provoking, life-changing sessions this week, how can they catch up and indeed follow the work of ICS?
So they can go to celebratejune.org, and they can also see every single video for all the sessions that we've had posted on National Caribbean American Month Facebook page. If you go to the Facebook page, it's all there, including these nightly Caribbean Eye on Washington roundup.
Sounds good. So you know where to go, viewers, wherever in the world you are. Thank you so much. This has been well, I don't like to use the word final because you never know. But this is it for now. for our series of summers. It's been a pleasure working with you both, and our other panelists who have been on during this week. Indeed. Looking forward to the next invite.
Absolutely. We'll have one for you soon.
Sounds good. Have a great weekend.
You too. Thank you.
All things being well, I'll catch you in the morning, Dr. Nelson.
Thank you, sir. And this is our outing of the Caribbean Eye on Washington. We are going to sort of continue this dynamic series where we catch up with Caribbean journalists around the region and bring our family closer. No more long distance cousin. Everybody will be coming a kissing and a hugging cousin with COVID protocol in place.
One happy family. Take us out with the song now, Dr. Nelson.
Good morning, Miss Marjorie. I come here to Robert Lee. Him is my bona fide property. You better give back me man to me. I hear you scratching up Robbie head. You could have loved him so till you're dead. But I warning you, Marjorie. You better let go, Mr. Robert Lee. Marjorie, let go, Robert Lee. Marjorie, let go, Robert Lee. And it goes on. I'm sure you've heard it,
right? For the first time this evening, but we'll talk about that another time. Well done. Take care.
America is a nation of immigrants, a vibrant tapestry of cultures, including Caribbean, with its people contributing to the rich diversity of American society, like Shawnette Renee Wilson, Basil Watson, Karen Andre, Reno Wilson, Dr. Cindy Duke, R.V. Pierre, Justine Skye. We honor their contributions to our shared history, shared legacy, and celebrate June as National Caribbean American Heritage Month. Join us. CelebrateJune.org.